And we are live on the air. Hey guys, Harrison, I'm back at it once again with a brand new video for you. And welcome back to Around the Corner. First time I've done this in a little while. Yeah, apologies for the people that have been begging for this series to come back. It takes a longer time than you realise to get me and 4 other F1 directors in the house. But we got there in the end, and that's the important thing. Also, I hope you guys like the new jacket. It's pretty spangly. I look like Pat Sajak from Wheel of Fortune. But in the meantime, let's roll with the show. And making his return to Around the Corner, second appearance. We love him on this show, and thankfully Matty's sister's not around, so we can't have any lewd jokes on this one. It's FisiFan91. I actually got his name right.
You're not calling me FisiFan this time, are you?
Yeah.
Hello, guys. It's nice to be around the corner for the second time, and hopefully it should be fun.
Yeah, the undisputed god of AOR Online. Self-confessed, of course. To his right, we have America's finest. Well, Mr. Ryan King.
Yep. I'm doing well. I hope I could finally get a win. I haven't gotten an individual win yet on Around the Corner.
I swear you've won once, King.
No, I've never won.
Really?
Nope.
You've been runner-up on at least 3 separate occasions, I think. You were like elusive Kev until he finally won one earlier in this series. Yeah, he was a 4-time runner-up and he lost the tiebreaker to Nino as well. Poor fella. To his right, we have the guy that abandoned the community to start going on Twitch instead. It's Ryan Littlemore.
Hello, everyone. The guy who's supposed to do no takes me, what never happens, but yeah, mainly an iRacer now and some F1, but hopefully this time I'll live up to my name and get a lot of penalty points tonight.
And hopefully less than 10 penalty points. His odds don't look quite so good. And finally, to the right, representing Spain, we have Tom97HD.
So yeah, obviously I've been a couple of times, and just like Ryan, fellow R-Racer, and I raced with him a couple of times, and yeah, glad to be on the show once again, and hopefully I can finally win for once. That'd be nice.
Don't count on it. I gave you guys a 10-point head start during the Ryder Cup episode last time around, and you still somehow found a way to not win. I thought that was more impressive.
I'm not the only one to blame for that one.
To be fair, Arva didn't give you guys much of a help. But yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat who's watching. Don't forget to send in your questions if you want to have a chance of getting in on the air. As well, we've got Alex Southgate here, Initialization, Boy Racer, AOR Drive 52, Joe McMillan, Sean Smith, Johannes Larson, all in the chat there. Hey guys, hope you guys are having a good night so far. Hope you guys aren't watching the England game. God bless you. Yeah, if you want to send in questions, put them in the chat below, or you can send them to me on Twitter at Harrison101HD. The best ones will get on the air, which will be fantastic. Hooray! In the meantime, let's have a look at this Twitter chat before we get things going. Obviously, in case you guys didn't know the rules already, I award points based on good topic points made around certain questions. Points for good points. Penalty points for genuine incompetence, Ryan. And any other stuff I see that is kind of silly, really. I make this up as I go along. It's quite fun. Also, each player has a joker after a question is asked. If they feel confidence on it, they can play their joker, and they will score double points on it. Unfortunately, it's going to be a slightly shorter show than normal because Tom's got a curfew. Unfortunately, he has to go to bed for school in the morning. But hopefully we'll go to about 10:30, 11:30 his time. So hopefully we'll still get plenty in the next hour and a quarter. Whew, I can finally breathe. Let's go to the chat and pick up our first question, and it's from LenM4 on Twitter. Hi, Len. And he asks, what do you think is more likely to occur in the near future? Marussia to turn midfield, or Sauber to further decline? Got that? What is more likely to happen first? Sauber declining further, or Marussia becoming a midfield team? Anyone fancy an early joker?
Oh, no.
Oh, Ryan.
I was going to go
No,
first.
I'll put his hand up.
Look, you're up for going first, though, Ryan.
I'm up for first, going up first.
Hey, if you want to go first, you go for it. I'm not going to stop you.
Right, first and foremost, my answer is what's going to mostly happen is Sauber's going to go down the drain.
Ooh.
Recently, apparently there's a rumor going around that Sauber are going to be sold to a Montreal billionaire known as Lawrence Stroll, which is quite surprising. Obviously, Sauber's performances this season have been absolutely atrocious. They've gone down completely this season, and Marussia, on the other side, they're growing. They got their first points ever in Monaco with Bianchi getting 2 points. And in most of the sessions, like practice and sometimes qualifying, which we've seen, they are on par with the Saubers, or sometimes even quicker than them in some of the races. So Sauber, I think, they're slowly like going. They're like, yeah, this is great. You know, when Perez was there, yeah, this is great, and Hulkenberg, great performances, and then somewhat just completely declined dramatically now. Obviously, they may get a bit of promotion because obviously the Mexican Grand Prix next year. They've got Gutierrez in the team. May bring in some Mexican sponsorship, maybe, which could help their finances a bit. But yeah, we'll see. But I think Sauber are going to probably go out in the next few years.
No Sauber altogether. Interesting. Okay. King?
I would say Sauber. No, I'd say. Oh,
He's not
I'd say
sure.
I'd say.
Ooh.
I'd say Marussia to go to the midfield. They've had I mean, yes, they've had problems with Max Chilton getting funding, but they're looking for a 9th place finish in the Constructors' Championship. They're going to get a new influx of prize money. And I don't think Sauber is going to go down because, yes, they're being sold off to a Canadian billionaire, Lawrence Stroll. Like, for those who don't know, Lawrence Stroll is a fashion icon. He runs Michael Kors. And the last time a fashion company got involved in Formula One, we got Benetton. And so I don't think things are going to go bad for Sauber for getting a billionaire to own the team instead of Peter Sauber.
Can't hurt, right? Can't hurt at all. Fizz?
Well, it's a bit of a difficult question because both could very realistically happen, I'd say, but I'm kind of leaning towards agreeing with King, to be honest, because I can't see Sauber just disappearing like that, especially, I mean, I don't have a clue about who this billionaire is, but apart from what he just said now, but I mean, surely it can't be a bad thing to get a billionaire into run the team, because I know that, well, from what I've heard, Sauber isn't in the best financial state. Obviously, they're getting sponsorship from Mexico and stuff like that with Gutierrez, but yeah. But the thing is, with Sauber though, if a new owner comes in and Peter Sauber just goes away, maybe there would be a name change then. And would you class that as Sauber declining? I don't know. But I'd say, if that doesn't count as Sauber declining, because the team would obviously live on just with a new name, then I'd say it's more likely that Marussia will get a midfield team status because they've showed good promise this year, I'd say.
Okay, and Tom?
I think neither of the two will happen. Or I say neither of the two. I think they might both end up leaving or being sold. The reason I say this is because even though I've been really impressed with Marussia and what they've been doing, I've noticed since the loss of Frick, they haven't been the same. I think they've been struggling. They haven't had the same amount of pace, and I'm just wondering maybe if this carries on to next year, will they still be there? Will they improve? Will they struggle still? I mean, they did get a 9th place, but like I said, the Frick is, I think, a major part for them, and they've lost quite a bit. And I think Caterham have actually been ahead of them a couple of races. I think Monza, actually, Caterham's finished ahead of Marussia. So, in regards to Sauber, they've got a very weak driver lineup, no points on the board, so there's going to be no money coming in. So I think on both ends, maybe money's going to be a major issue. And apparently, with rumour going around with apparently next year F1 having 8 teams and 3 cars each team, that could potentially be the nail in the coffin in terms of budget. So I might say they might both end up being sold. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, interesting stuff there. I might have to address that that possible shake-up rumour in later on in the show, I should say. If anyone wants to chip in with their thoughts on any questions, feel free to do so in the chat. I think the chat may be half broken. Or actually, no, it's working. It's working. You know what YouTube's like. It's very temperamental at the best of times. But it's looking quite interesting. Got Owen in the chat saying, I missed the start. Has Littlemore got any penalty points yet? No, he's actually survived so far. I'd give it another 5 minutes if I was you.
A minute.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get plenty of chances to have a penalty on the board for Littlemore. In the meantime, don't forget to keep sending in those questions in the chat or on Twitter. Either way would be great. Let's have a look. Okay. Richard Evans, we'll go with his question. Richard Evans, I heard it on Twitter. Hi, Richard. He says, with Haas confirming they will have Ferrari engines for when they come into 2016, how well do you think they will do? So, with Haas confirming they're on Ferrari power for 2016, how do you think they will fare? I think the official term is technical partner, as you do. So, anyone fancy a joker? Don't all raise your hands at once. No. Okay. We'll put King up first for this one. It's usually the American after all.
Yeah, I mean, how Haas will do will basically depend on how much Ferrari will be willing to work with Haas. Obviously, Ferrari value the U.S. market because it's one of their largest markets, and their team principal was former president of Ferrari North America, so he knows the value of the North American market. So he knows if Haas does well, people look at Ferrari, their partnership with Ferrari, as a reason for their success.
Okay, interesting. Fizz?
I don't think they'll do well at all, to be honest. And that's just mainly based on the fact that the three teams who've seen come in to F1 in recent years, obviously Caterham, starting off as Lotus, obviously, and then Marussia, starting with Virgin, and then HRT especially, they've all done quite badly. Obviously, Marussia kind of showing a bit of promise now, but it's taken. I mean, this is their what is it, 5th year in F1, and they've been hopeless basically until now. So. Obviously, starting with Ferrari power, that's a good start, better than the other teams had, with starting with Cosworth, because they seem quite hopeless as well. But yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, they might get a better start, but I think I really think they will struggle because it seems so hard financially to get properly established in F1 these days.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. A little more.
I'm gonna put this out there. I think they're gonna be a HRT.
Ooh. Even worse.
It's just the problem is, yeah, they're getting Ferrari engines, but you don't know what their budget is.
Hey, Haas makes $1 billion a year.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I'm just thinking like their wind tunnels or how they develop the car. Have they got all the funding? I just think that's going to be the key thing if they're going to succeed well or not on the. It's hard because you don't know. Yeah, the advantage they have is they're having a year in advance to prepare themselves for 2016, so they can look into what the regulations are going to be and design a year in advance of what a car they feel could be, not like Mercedes area, maybe with sort of the Saubers or the Toro Rosso area range, and fight with them and maybe get some more funding from finishing ahead of like Marussia, Caterham, or even if the 8 teams comes into effect, what if that happens? Bernie might say, oh, we'll kick them out because they're not doing well after one season. So you just don't know what's going to happen with them. But I mean, I give them the best of luck, but they won't go far, I feel.
Okay, and Tom?
Yeah, I don't think they'll do really well. Ferrari engine's 50-50. The Ferrari proper like factory team. Look at reliability. Apart from Alonso at Monza, they've had pretty solid reliability, no issues with their engine. But then on the flip side, you look at Toro Rosso, who's a customer engine, and then you see what their reliability has been like, and you think twice. So there's two ways that could go, and then obviously, yes, they probably have got the money, like Ryan said. But obviously you got to get the proper staff in, nice knowledgeable staff with experience, and also the drivers, which plays a crucial part. You got to get maybe someone who's hungry or that has got some raw pace. Like for example, Jules Bianchi, who you can see he's out driving the Marussia quite often, and he's really getting the most out of the car, similar to what Hulkenberg did last year for Sauber. So there's loads of variables as to what that can do, but I personally don't think they'll last no more than 3 or 4 years myself. I mean, just based on what we've seen from the new teams in the last 5 years, plus also USF1 that never happened. So I'm not expecting much, so that might be a good thing.
Yeah, maybe pessimism might be the best way to go about this one at the moment, like everybody else on this freaking panel has.
I'm just going to point out, no offense to Americans, but I mean the success that America has had in F1 in recent years hasn't been great. All I really can think of, obviously they've had like Mario Andretti in the past, but
okay.
USGP, as Tommy mentioned, failed miserably trying to get in, and then
they ended up designing coasters.
The other thing I'm thinking about is Scott Speed, and he wasn't particularly great either. So.
But I mean, as a place to develop drivers, America has developed some pretty good drivers. We had Juan Pablo Montoya, Sebastian Bourdais.
Mm-hmm.
What about Rossi?
Were they really a great driver, though?
Oh, Rossi though.
Yeah, Rossi was meant to drive for Marussia at Spa, but then Max Chilton's daddy chipped in with a boatload of money at the last second, and told Rossi to take a hike. And then what does Chilton do? He decides to bin it in the Italian gravel, of course. But yeah, it's interesting. The American influence in Formula 1 is definitely an interesting one to look at, especially when you look at how GP2 just had two very good Americans in it, in Conor Daly and Alexander Rossi, and now both are no longer there. So, it's a downward trend at the moment, and Conor Daly losing his seat was a hammer blow for the American audience, which is kind of unfortunate, really.
If you listen to the Finish Line podcast, it was basically Conor Daly ran out of money.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I mean, apparently it's happened a lot, and I've seen it happen a lot. It happens a lot over here as well when it comes to motorsport funding in this country alone, especially on the grassroots level, especially in biking as well. You get it a lot on two wheels where people are trying to get into the British Superbike Championship and things like that, and they just run out of cash and they have to just pull out immediately, and it's not nice at all to hear that, and obviously we all wish Conor Daly the best. I think he's aiming for IndyCar now for next year, which isn't a bad place to start already because the experience he's got there. So I hope it works out for him. Let's have a look here. Okay, I like a Turnos question. I might go with that in a minute, actually. Oh God, Scott Speed the best. Scott Speed the beast in the comments. Like Sean Smith. He was more famous for his boner jokes than he was his actual racing ability. Like I had a boner and it was like this big, and find the video, it's hilarious. Also, I have to give Tom Martin as a penalty point, unfortunately. Reason why is he compared Toro Rosso to Ferrari, and Toro Rosso use Renault engines, not Ferrari. And sorry, Tom.
Controversy.
Yeah. That's just Toro have been Ferrari so many years, and then.
Yeah, they switched this year, I think.
They did indeed.
Yeah, that's fair enough, yeah.
So
really, I'll say I'll go back on my point. So maybe Ferrari is a good option for them. Maybe then, because it's a reliable source in terms of an engine, then maybe that's a good idea, a good starting point for Haas F1, I guess. Then.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go over Turner UK. As you might know him as Joe. Congratulations on the 1,000 subscribers, Joe. Well done, sir. His question: where do you think Williams can go after this season? Will they continue to improve or continue to be inconsistent like previous seasons? So Williams, now currently third in the Constructors' Championship, took a big haul of points home from Monza this past weekend. Do you think this will continue, or is it going to be a flash in the pan like it has been with Williams so many times in the past? Okay. Anyone fancy a joker? No. Okay. Little more. What do you reckon?
I think they're working their way up. They won't be up to Mercedes' pace as of yet, but the only issue they have is they're good at some tracks and they're okay at others. Like Massa and Bottas said that they will be extremely competitive at Monza, which to be fair they did. 3rd and 4th on the grid, and then Massa got 3rd. And they were on par on pace, race pace. But I found out they've put a lot of investment this year, and they've made some losses this year. Obviously, they've spent the big bucks, basically, to improve their car. And it's shown that they are quick up there. I think they're top 4, top 3. I think they will beat Ferrari over on the Constructors this season. Really. Nothing really much to say as much. Obviously, they're keeping Bottas and Massa next season, so they have got confidence that both of them will do pretty well next season. And Bottas is obviously the #1 driver in the team. I will say that. Extremely talented young driver. He is a future world champion. Massa's, I think, gone past that world championship status, but maybe top 6. It'll be definite top 10 for Massa, but. Okay. I think it's the start of a Williams comeback to where they were many, many years ago with Damon Hill winning in the last time they won the Drivers' Championship in '96. So good things are coming for Williams, I feel.
Did you really go as far as to say you were comparing it to the glory days of 1996 and Damon Hill?
Yeah, I actually do believe that they will. They're on like a path towards it, not like heavy, but slowly. Again, there.
Okay, what worries me as well is that you said their race pace was on par with Mercedes at Monza. Felipe Massa finished 25 seconds behind the winning car.
I was referring to when in practice sessions and that, but
yeah, but when it comes down to the gritty, then they're not on pace.
Yeah, but I'm referring to Bottas here. Bottas was quick in during practice. If Bottas did not have that start he had, because he got held up by Hamilton, as I said to you, Dre, on the stream that we did yesterday, where would he have finished? He would have been up there with not win, but close.
Yeah, I mean, in Austria, Bottas pretty much hanged with the Mercedes the whole race, and Massa dropped off as the race went on, which probably would have been the same thing. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, in Austria, I'm pretty sure Bottas was about 9 seconds behind the winning car in the end. I think Massa was a little bit further back and ended up.
Bottas is the #1 driver in the team. He has more chance of getting a win or a podium than Massa does.
Really, Ryan? How bold of you to suggest?
Well, I've got a bold prediction, so.
Penalty point for Littlemore for suggesting that Massa was close during the race, because he bloody well wasn't.
He just has more likely of getting a podium, because Massa just got one yesterday.
Yeah. But being 25 seconds off to a win does not quantify being on the same level in terms of race pace. That's nearly half a second a lap slower.
I was referring to Bottas, not Massa.
Bottas was 40 seconds off the top, but I must admit, I'm giving Bottas a pass here because he had to deal with so much traffic. King?
Right now, I feel like Williams are on shaky ground. Right now, they have a good standing. They have a good place in the constructors' standings. They have the pace to remain where they are in the constructors' standings. But it matters how time goes on. Next season, the season after that, whether they could build on this, or I'm pretty sure they'll probably stay behind Mercedes because they're a customer team. But I think one thing that's going to come down to is funding. And one law that's in the works right now is a ban on alcohol advertising, which will hurt Williams horribly if that goes through. The European Union's groups within the European Union are putting pressure for a EU-wide alcohol advertising ban. And if that were to happen, Williams would lose Martini as a sponsor. If somehow they could build upon their standing for this season and next season, maybe they could get a different sponsor to jump on board with.
Great point. I did not know that the EU was pushing for an alcohol ban, and that would be critical for Williams if they got banned on that. And I mean, how else would they make an F1 2014 livery mod on there for those? God. But yeah, I did not realize that was actually going to be a thing. And yeah, if it's bad enough for the video games, it's going to be even worse for them in real life. So Tom.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ryan. Also, I think I want to add on, from what I've seen in the last few years, Williams, most of the team are still the same. So I think once the other teams step up their game, I think they will drop back a bit. I'm not saying as bad as they were at their lowest point in the last couple of years, but I think eventually, obviously, Red Bull will probably get back up there once they get a decent power unit. And you've got to think maybe McLaren with Honda might get back up there. And then you obviously got to think maybe surely Ferrari at some point have got to be back up there. So it's a question of, like Ron said, funding and consistency over the years if they can keep it going. And on the flip side, so far, even though Ryan mentioned they've lost a bit of money with what they've invested, they're probably going to make that back because they're most likely, I'm going to say, finish second in the constructors this year. If everything goes according to plan, or third. Second or third, I think they're going to get top 3. So they're probably going to get a nice bit of money out of that, which they need after where they finished last year. So
they're about 90 points back from Red Bull in second place. So it's looking like a straight fight for third between Williams and Ferrari by the looks of it. But like I said, Williams just took a 25-point swing out of Ferrari's advantage because Ferrari had 2 points this past weekend, while Williams had 27. So quite the contrast there. Let's go to the chat real quick. Jack Pickering's in the chat. Hi. On a skill chat to the BPG13, he asked quite a similar question. Do you think Williams will have a good fight against Ferrari till the end of the season? Quite similar, noted, really. Joanna saying Ferrari, great reliability equals sensible choice. Can't argue with that. Has Haas may do well in American motorsport, but F1 is much tougher than American motorsport. Miles Parder there stating the obvious. I mean that in a nice way. Daniel Brennan saying, even everyone, good to see you back. Oh, good to have you back, Daniel. Stop doing so well in my fantasy league. Rama VGI in here as well. Good to see you. Aaron is that. I said, hi guys, hope you haven't missed much. How many penalties has Ryan got so far? Just the one, surprisingly. I know, I'm as shocked as you guys are. Keep the great chat comments coming, of course. Again,
Fizzy's not meant, hasn't had a go yet.
I was going to say.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot, didn't I? My bad. Take it away. Sorry about that.
But yeah, I'm not going to make it too long, to be honest. I'm just going to go straight to answer the question, and I think they won't be as good as they are this year. I mean, they really look like a really solid team this year in terms of their car being very solid. But I think the main reason is the Mercedes engine being very solid. And I expect that for next season the Ferrari and Renault engines will be closer to Mercedes than they are now, because they'll have had more time to figure out what's wrong with it. So. Yeah, I think they could continue to be slightly inconsistent because they've basically been like that for the last 4 years. But so I think they'll go down a bit again, but not as much. I think they'll establish themselves around 4th or 5th going forward. Okay,
interesting point of view there. Also, we may or may not have lost Tommy. His webcam was gone and his microphone has muted itself. So hopefully he'll be back soon. Maybe the Spanish curfew kicked in a bit earlier than anticipated. Oh, and Welbeck scored again. So if you're missing the England game, Vince, apparently England's now 2-0 up. So
you apparently won a football match. I'm quite surprised.
Oh, great. The Norwegians chipped in from earlier in the week, innit? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys kind of expect to win because England is a big football nation and all that. So, whereas Norwegian football is just shocking and everyone knows it. So, I mean,
This is also true. Okay, Craig's got a good question now. I might get to that in a little bit. Okay, yeah, general question here, and you know what? I'm going to extend. I'm going to extend the time limit a little bit here. Oh, actually, oh, hang on. Also here, okay, interesting. Apparently, I owe Littlemore a penalty point because he said Villeneuve won for Williams in 1997.
I said 6. I said 96. Damon Hill.
Yeah, he said Hill in 96.
He said Hill in 96. Yeah, Villeneuve was 97. I think I'm going to give Littlemore a pass on that one. I don't know, too, if you guys point that out. Maybe I should have missed that.
But he did say Hill's win in 96 was Williams' most recent Drivers' Championship.
I didn't say most recent.
Yes, he did.
No, I didn't. If you watch the stream back, I would not have said
Yes.
Did he say most recent?
No, one of them.
Can we apply post-race penalty points? Post-race?
Post-race?
Post-race.
This is a race, isn't it? It's a race for points. It's a race.
There's no point. I won't win anyway, so.
Ryan Littlemore's been awarded 3 penalty points after race direction found out he actually did say most recent results.
I'm putting in a stewards inquiry for this one.
Yeah. Not many worse than the AOR stewards. Hey!
Oh.
I mean, if it's for the AOR stewards, then it's a definite penalty, so I think we should do that.
Also, the Rainmaster chipping in saying Williams could do what Ferrari did with Marlboro when tobacco advertising got banned, and what they did in Bahrain this year, and just replace the word martini with racing.
But you really can't do that. 10 out of the 19 races are in Europe.
Yeah, like, people would notice that. Like, you can't really get away from that. Also, saying Andrew the Blade also chipped in. We may have seen it from my race review yesterday, where he says Williams should be looking to secure more sponsorship anyway. Putting all your eggs in one basket, either through choice or forced, is a shaky business strategy when it comes to funding through sponsorship or investment. Williams are this season's Lotus, kicking in above their weight in terms of budget, but could easily go backwards if they lose that single source of funding. Lotus, or Renault as they were, had this situation with ING and have been struggling behind the scenes since. Really hope they don't fall back. It's been great to see Williams back where they belong at the front of the field. Yeah, can't really argue with any of that. Barnes, did you see the BBC report on Hamilton going to McLaren again because Mercedes?
Yeah.
What a different lineup it would be if drivers crash again. I'm not really going to go into that too much, mainly because BBC and Sky are freaking awful when it comes to reporting this Hamilton-Rosberg feud, but I really don't think anyone would leave the team because of a couple of collisions. If they
I don't know. Like, looking back at 2007, Alonso left McLaren for the same reason. He went back to Renault.
To be fair, yeah, that's also a valid point. Yeah, 2007 was a very odd year, and Alonso couldn't take the new boy being that good straight away, so that new boy just happened to be Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, still, I mean, he may have noticed some kind of, padding for time a little bit, hoping Tom comes back. No sign of him yet. I don't know what.
It's alright if I mention something about McLaren.
Go on.
Apparently, they're going to confirm that they're keeping the same drivers for next season.
Jensen Button lives on.
Apparently, it's a
the
rumor.
legacy of Button lives.
I don't really mind about Button. I'm just glad Kevin has a seat, to be honest. I mean, I like Button, but I mean, I'm a Kevin fan now.
Fear before I saw this post that he will get the chop and that his career's over, but never know.
The problem I have with Jensen Button is that he gets paid a lot for what he actually brings to that team. He's like one of the most highest paid dudes in the field. He's on $16 million a year, roughly. And he's quietly gone about his business quite well this season, all things considered. Points-wise, he's not looking too bad. The thing is it justifiable paying him that kind of money? That's the only issue I've already got. But if McLaren feel they need to give their centerpiece guy that kind of funding, then hey, why not? Anywho,
Tom's back, by the way.
Yeah, and I noticed him back. Yeah, a lot of people asking me, including people like the UK Gaming Studios, a couple of people on Twitter as well. The big rumor that apparently next year's grid is going to look like an 8x3 kind of model, 8 teams, with the first time in a long time in Formula 1 history, at least, where a team will have 3 cars and 3 different drivers. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to extend the time limit longer than I normally would. How do you think this would shake up the field? Who would teams bring in? How would it affect the dynamic? Would it be good for the sport, bad for the sport? In whatever direction you guys want to take it is up to you. I don't mind. Now, does anyone want to play a joker on this?
Just want to ask, did I miss a question while I was gone? Or...
You didn't. No, don't worry. I padded for time long enough so you could get back in.
Okay, cheers.
It's a loaded question. Does anyone fancy playing their joker? You guys are thinking about it, I can tell.
I think I will, but I'm going to need a bit of time to think of what I'm going to say. Because I've got a rough idea.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take my joker.
King's taking his joker. All right.
Yeah, I'll take mine.
And Sol wants his as well. Okay. I'm going to let Littlemore go first on this.
It's a tough one because yes, it could potentially make the sport more exciting in terms of rivalry, but if you flip the coin, it's a bit harsh on like Haas when they come in, Marussia who are doing very well, Caterham just a pile of crap. They won't last long anyway. So, in terms of drivers and teams, it'll be interesting. Like Ferrari could have Alonso, Raikkonen, and Bianchi, or possibly Hülkenberg up there. Many hadn't Bianchi because of the Ferrari program he's got with them. Mercedes, it's hard, that one. Really, you could potentially have Rosberg, Hamilton if they become friends again and all that, but obviously that's not going to happen. Maybe Hülkenberg, maybe get a German driver in there, get some more promotion sponsorship from that. McLaren.
Why is nobody considering Adrian Sittel? No?
Yeah. We would have thought that.
Why? You need an answer.
Because the only reason he's still on the grid is because of Jennifer Bex.
Yes! And Sven's colour! That's a finish line inside joke for there, you kids. Carry on.
Trying to think of a team now. McLaren, obviously K-Mag, you're working well. Obviously the Honda engines, obviously they're going to try and get some big name in, but that's not going to happen. Maybe Hamilton goes back, Alonso potentially. I've heard a little rumour Vettel. They've tried expressing off of a Vettel on there. Red Bull, Ricciardo will definitely stay. Then they'll probably have maybe like Verstappen or Felix da Costa maybe coming in on there for using their driver program. On there, Force India, don't know really. Checo, trying to think of some other good drivers. Maybe Grosjean, maybe. I see Lotus going out, maybe. Obviously their fundings and they're not doing really well. Not paid their team, or maybe some of their members of the team as well. Yeah. On this, I mean, the only benefit.
Sorry to cut you, Ryan, but it's worth throwing in there as well. Not every team may run 3 cars. The same.
We don't know that.
I didn't know that. I thought it was.
Yeah. People have asked for clarification, and apparently it's been said that not every team might run 3, but some might run 3. A bit like MotoGP when Repsol Honda had 3 bikes instead of 2, and everybody else had 2, etc. But yeah, carry on, mate.
I was going to wrap it up by saying, obviously with lesser teams, the funding, like the prize money, may get bigger. So if, like, say, Marussia stay in and do pretty well, then they might get a lot more money to develop their car and maybe fight with the teams like maybe Williams, Force India, Toro Rosso maybe on there. Teams that will go, Caterham for definite will go, Lotus possibly, if they don't sort out their funding and get sponsorship, Sauber possibly, if this fashion designer doesn't do something or just makes the car look pretty on there, and it'll be exciting but harsh. It's the balancing act.
Yeah, the car is studded in Swarovski crystals to make it look nice. King?
Oh, what I have to say, I'm not sure if this is going to actually happen. Yes, a lot of the news sources are running this story, but it was leaked by Adam Parr, the former Williams CEO, not a team principal, not anyone currently involved in Formula One. And for this to happen for 2015 would be something extremely drastic, and we're about a couple months away from next season, to be honest. Like, what, 5 months away from testing?
Yeah.
And yes, you can have 8 3-car teams, but not everyone can afford to run 3 cars, and then you run into the scenarios like, is Red Bull allowed to run 6 cars through?
Oh God, yeah.
3 for Red Bull, 3 for Toro Rosso.
That's a scary thought.
And what happens with new teams coming in, with Haas coming in 2016? Like, currently the maximum number of cars allowed, because that's the maximum number of cars that can physically fit in Monaco, is 26. What happens when you run up to 26 and there are more guys who want to run in, but the bigger teams all want to run 3 cars? Like, do we go back to the era of pre-qualifying where we have more cars than spots in the grid? How do we do that with all the flyaway rounds now? Who's going to pay to move all these cars around the globe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, yes, it's interesting, and I could see some of the teams running 3 cars, but I don't think Red Bull want to run 3 cars unless they can get both Toro Rosso and Red Bull to run 3 cars. And maybe we could see Mercedes run 3 cars in 2016. I don't think it's going to happen for 2015. Right now, it's just all rumors.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff indeed. Tom?
Well, I've been thinking about it. I'm kind of looking forward to this one. There's been a lot of, obviously, controversy about dodgy rules.
Someone say controversy? Yes.
I can't. Obviously, there's been, like I said, a lot of controversy about certain rules like standing restarts and obviously the ugly noses and whatever. So this is one that I think is good because it's not bad. Even though I was requested it, I think it's a good idea. It's different and it's not something that's like bad like standing restarts for me. There's loads of scenarios in a positive way in terms of a business for F1 and marketing. If teams can afford it, having a 3rd car would provide loads more jobs for like loads of engineers there that lose jobs, and that are maybe are promising people, plus other drivers that have a bit of a future. So, for example, if you're running 3 cars, for example, the McLaren situation where they want K-Mag, but they're not sure 50-50 button, and they want to bring Van Dorn in with the Honda engines and all that. With maybe 3 cars, they could do all of that, and it would save the problem if they can afford it. So it would make interesting to see what could happen. For example, could you imagine Bahrain all over again, but with 3 Mercedes having a scrap instead of 2? What could happen there? And then obviously in the lesser teams, like Ryan and King have mentioned about teams like Marussia, would they be able to afford 3 cars? What would happen in terms of grid slots? Personally, if it was to happen for me, Caterham, Sauber, and unfortunately Marussia would probably be the 3 teams to go, unless Marussia pulls something out the bag for 2015, because I don't think it'll be implemented next year. It will be implemented for 2016 if it was to be the case, because, like Ron said, it'd be too soon and too drastic. And I think also it would be a good idea in a way, for example, like Ryan mentioned with the Red Bull team, 3 Red Bulls and 3 Toro Rossos, that's a lot of, you could say, 1 team kind of thing on the grid. But in a way, it would help Red Bull's driver program. For example, you could have Max Verstappen, and then you could also keep Verne in terms of experience to help the younger ones out. So there's loads of ways of going about this. It's obviously the cost, how they distribute money, and then obviously what would it be like for ratings? Would it bring in good money? Would it bring in more viewers? I mean, it's a very interesting thing, and for me, I'd like to see it happen. I think it's interesting.
That's the highest I've ever given out for a Joker. Good lord, 10 points. I think that's doubled to 20. Tommy's done well on that one. And finally, Fizz.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question, but I'm very skeptical towards it. I don't really want it. I mean, when you think about it, it can sound like an exciting idea because maybe it could make it a bit closer up front with more of the big teams having more drivers in cars that would be more similar. But then again, you have the smaller teams, Force India, the Marussias, the Caterhams and stuff like that, who wouldn't be able to afford it. And if it's like someone mentioned that some teams run 3 cars, some teams run 2 cars, I don't think that would be great at all. That would be just completely ruin the whole Constructor Championship,
Absolutely.
first of all.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to mention, for the Constructors' Championship, it's required in the Concord Agreement, which gives out the prize money, that every team has to run 2 cars in each race. That's why you don't see single-car teams.
Right.
Point to King on that. Yeah, carry on, Fizz.
But yeah, so if it is to happen, I'd obviously want every team to run 3 cars. But on the other hand, I like that there's a bit of variety. I mean, obviously, at the moment, you look at Caterham, and they're pretty pointless down there in last place constantly and getting lapped twice in every race. But I like the variety. I think it's a good balance having around 11 teams with 2 cars. The only time I would maybe want this idea to come into effect is that if if we suddenly have several teams drop out of the grid for whatever reason, and suddenly we end up with 8 teams and we can't get any new teams in, then I would maybe be up for every team running 3 cars instead, just to fill up the grid anyway, when there's no other option. But unless that's the case, I'm not really a fan of that idea, to be honest.
I would just want to say something. I think that it's a good idea in a sense. For example, there's benefit. Obviously, we've seen our drivers that have had the problem where they don't bring in enough money, and for a 2-car team, you've got one man that brings in a lot of money, and the other guy's short, what we know as pay drivers. So maybe that 3rd car might give someone a chance that brings in a lesser amount of money to maybe have a shot, possibly. So in a way, that might be a good thing. Obviously, let's see how it works out.
The teams would use that 3rd car to just stick a pay driver in there so they get some extra money.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I agree with that, actually, because if we have 8 teams of 3, you got 24 drivers. That's not much more than what we've got with the 22 right now. It would just be a matter of whether teams would promote from within their own, rather than looking maybe a little bit further out into GP2. I think guys who are pay drivers and who have excessive amounts of financial backing, they'll get in anyway, more than likely. We're seeing that right now with Marcus Ericsson. We're seeing that now with Pastor Maldonado, obviously, who on merit was okay, but there was possibly better dudes out there for the taking. Where the more talented guys are now lounging around in Formula E. Great, but people have asked me for my take on this a lot of the time as well, and I'm panicking if this is true, because I think it's a very, very, very bad call if this happens. I think too many teams will drop out of the sport if it becomes a thing, and the reason why that is because we'd lose 3 teams automatically because it would be an 8x3 format, roughly. And Formula 1 needs the little teams to survive. And the problem is, because of the revenue sharing as well, that teams someone's got to finish in last. Someone's going to have to finish in last. And if a big company or if a big brand is down the bottom for too long, they'll go away. Look how quickly BMW left the sport once they were lounging up the back of the field. Toyota was another example. A company that's got a ridiculous amount of money in the back, but once they started falling down the order again, they quit. And it's unfortunate because Toyota actually started to show some real promise in 2009 before they dropped out as well. But I'm a little bit worried about that. Also, I like some of the comments here saying things like as well. Smooth Racing, second in the Fantasy League right now, says Sauber need 5 cars for next year just to accommodate all their drivers and reserves. Yeah, they have their current 2, and they have Simone de Silvestro, they have Guido van der Garde and Sergei Sorokin all back there waiting in the wings, fighting for 2 seats.
Arguably the 2 shittest normal drivers and the 3 shittest reserve drivers you'll ever see.
No, wow! Don't piss off King with that. He's a big Van der Garde fan, because someone has to be.
You can't really judge drivers after 1 season in Caterham, I'd say, because
I think that's a bit harsh.
Any other talent in that team, to be honest.
No, I think that's it. Besides Van der Garde, Sorokin's rushed, kind of like Max Verstappen, and I don't even know the other ones now. I know the woman, but I can't say her name. She's got.
I just said it.
You're gonna say she's worthless, and you don't even know who she is.
No, but like Susie Wolf's been there for a few years, and they should do a much better job.
Bad comparison. Bad comparison. And
I just don't think there's nothing in terms of driver talent for me, or proper like Hulkenberg.
Let me give you some advice here. If you see a minefield, and you know it's a minefield, don't put your foot through it. It might blow your leg off. just a bit of an idea. The reason why I say it's a bad comparison is because Susie Wolf spent a lot of her time in DTM, and she was an average DTM driver, and she didn't have a lot of open wheel experience. So Moni Di Silvestro is actually a pretty solid IndyCar driver. So that
she got a podium in a shit car.
Exactly. It's like Di Silvestro can drive. I'll say that much. Like I think if you gave her a shot right now, she wouldn't be too far off everybody else. And with some work and with some more extended testing, it could work. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a bad comparison. And if you don't really know their name, you're probably best off not talking about them.
No,
for what it's worth.
I think we talked about it, I think it was 3 or 4 around the corners ago about female drivers in F1.
Mm.
It's a question of, I think we said, how long would it take to adapt? And obviously she's a reserve driver, I believe, or test driver, I'm not exactly sure, but either way, when you throw her in the car, how long will it take for her or Susie Wolf to properly adapt to that situation?
Okay.
Because you've got to bring in results. If you're a team like Sauber, you're going to be desperate to bring in results, if possible, straight away. So that's the problem.
I think the issue is with their car more than their current drivers. Don't get me wrong, their driver lineup is not great at all. And Sutil is very mediocre at best, and Esteban Gutierrez is basically flying to every Grand Prix on a magic carpet made out of Telmex money. But but there's a Mexican Grand Prix next year, so he'll be around for at least another year, more than likely, I reckon. So, it's kind of unfortunate. -1 for Tom there for mentioning Silvestro and not talking about IndyCar. That's a bad comparison. In the chat, let's see what you guys have to say as well, real quick, as we hit the 10 o'clock mark. Tyrrell Martin is in the house. This is bringing his AOR chums with him.
Hello.
The scenes in AOR of the 3-car teams were introduced in the F1 games. Brackets, imagine Noble, Limitless, and Matty G in the same team. Now that would be fun. Saying Daniel Brennan.
Yeah, well, it would be controversy, that's for sure.
Is there a way they could all take each other out at the same time?
Daniel Brennan going.
No positions for me, right?
Daniel Brennan going. I think every team being forced to run 3 cars would be horrible. Teams like Sauber, Lotus, Caterham, and Marussia and Force Indy will be in huge trouble. On one plus side of the 3 drivers, it'd be Red Bull Drivers Academy. It could give more drivers an opportunity. Yeah, valid point there. We all know Red Bull's Driver Academy is stacked. But yeah, let's quickly move on real quick. School's looking interesting as well. Hopefully we'll have another 20 more minutes of questions, hopefully. Joe McMillan says, do you think the penalties given to K-Mag in Spa and Monza were justified? I repeat, do you think the penalties to Kevin Magnussen were justified? I wonder who I'm going to go to first on this one.
You ain't going to him because he ain't there.
Is he going to play Joker on this one, out of curiosity?
Why the hell not?
Yeah, he's playing his Joker. He's going all in on the Magnussen question. I like the way you think. Go for it, Fizz.
The gun's loaded.
Well, I think I have more rage and ammunition on this one, but I'm gonna. I mean, I've had some time to think, in hindsight about these things. On both occasions, I reacted quite angrily when it happened because maybe a bit of fanboyism kicking in as well. But as is with when you're a big fan of someone. But in hindsight, I'm gonna say that the Spa one was kind of fair enough, to be honest.
I agree.
I mean, even though Alonso stated in the after the race that he didn't have a problem with it, he just saw it as a racing situation, because obviously Kevin had to kind of avoid 2 back markers at the same time, and that is when he swerved over and kind of pushed Alonso onto the grass. But
yeah, that's great.
there's definitely, I mean, it definitely could have stayed slightly more to the left to avoid that from happening, and obviously, the situation itself, it wasn't. I didn't see it as a really bad situation, but it was the case that it was at such high speed, and obviously on the grass at the end of a straight, it could have caused a big accident.
195 mile an hour you're looking at there.
Alonso hadn't been such a great driver that you could just drive an F1 car on the grass with no problem. So
better rally cross.
Yeah, I mean, 20 seconds, is that too much? Maybe, but I'm not going to complain too much about that penalty in hindsight, even though it's obviously really annoying to have him drop down from 6th to 12th.
Yeah.
So after a really entertaining race that he pulled off for everyone by his great defending up until that point.
Yeah.
Monza, however, I do not agree with that one. That is such a small incident. I mean, why even look at it? I think it was Martin Brundle who said in the because we just stream the races live in area now. I don't want to pay for that shit commentary we got up there. So I watched a stream of Sky Sports, and Martin Brundle said that he didn't see Kevin doing anything wrong. Obviously, Bottas was kind of alongside when trying to go around the outside of turn 1 and into turn 2, but Magnussen couldn't really have done anything different, because once he entered the corner at that angle, he tried to turn it the best he could, and Bottas decided to, he did the right thing to avoid contact. And for me, that's just a racing incident. There was no risk involved. I mean, it was clear what. I think it was clear for both drivers what needed to be done to avoid the contact, and I didn't think that was a dangerous situation at all. I think I saw that as a racing incident, and I think there was a point later in the race as well where I can't remember which way around it was, but it was either Button or Perez kind of doing kind of the same thing to the other driver at the second chicane, and that didn't get looked at all. So I just didn't think that was worth penalising, and obviously 5 seconds of a penalty isn't that much in the end, but Kevin was really unlucky by the fact that it was like 4 cars or 3 cars within a second of him. So yeah, quite annoyed with that one.
Point for an over talk, I'll say that much. But given the fact it was a joke, that might be. You didn't see me tap the watch there.
I defend myself on my screen. Your face wasn't showing up at all. I don't even know if it was.
Was
that
it really?
Yeah.
Was it really?
I didn't have your.
To be fair, Harrison, you were on mine as well.
Okay,
I'm submitting a huge inquiry on that one.
Okay. Decision overturned. I'm a fair judge. If you couldn't see my face, then I apologise for that. And yeah, I did tap it, but if you didn't see it, then I'll let that one slide. Don't worry, I'll give you guys the same kind of time as well, hopefully. God, another 10-point joker, lordy. Okay, a little more.
Belgium, yes, I agree with Fizzy on the fact that he definitely deserved the penalty. I think 20 seconds is a bit harsh in a way. Maybe 10 or 5, like he got in Monza, because he did really push the boundaries in how aggressive he was. Italy, I think he was a bit done over by it. I mean, Bottas came out in an interview and said he wasn't sure about it. But to be fair, they were both fighting. That's what we want to see. It was fair. Well, both of them believe it was a fair battle, in a way. And I just think the stewards they just don't like Kevin Magnussen for some reason. We have no idea on there. And he was quite lucky to stay in 10th, because obviously with Kvyat's rear or brake failure he had, he would have a brake failure. He would have not even got a point out of it on there. So, short and sweet, yeah. Spa, definitely. Monza shouldn't have got the penalty.
Okie doke. King.
Yeah, I agree with Vizzy that the Spa penalty was fair, but he definitely didn't deserve a penalty for what he did in Italy. And I think it's more on the steward's part, where it seems like there's this mentality of we have to be harsh on the rookies, where we have to give the rookies penalties just because they're rookies, and that's not how you should officiate a race. Every driver should be equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that for sure. So that's a very solid point as well.
I think that thinking back to Roman Grosjean, who is a recent example of, a couple of seasons ago when he was causing quite a few incidents, and
yeah, they threw the book at him.
they threw the book at him hard, which I guess was fair enough after the massive crash in Spa, but it's kind of, maybe that gave them the idea that, rookies, they don't know what they're doing until they get penalized.
Those young'uns, like, hey man, if it works for Sergio Canamasters, it works for us. No. Tom?
Well, because I broke a record, but I agree with everyone else here. I can't add much more, but yeah, Spa was unfair. I don't think it's in the rule book that you can give a 10-second penalty, because I think 20 was harsh, like they've all mentioned. I would give them 10 or maybe 5 if that's possible, but like I said, it's not in the rule book. Is it? So I think I was speaking to this couple of my friends before, and I think we agreed that it's not on the rule books, because I think there's been a few occasions where they could have been given, but they just gone for the full 20, which on a couple of occasions has been harsh.
I think it's a matter of. I think it's because it happened so close to the end is the reason why they couldn't do anything. Because we just saw Magnussen get a 5-second stop go, but they knew that it was a one-stop race, so it was effectively a 5-second time penalty, which I thought was actually valid. But I think because Magnussen in Spa's incident was on the penultimate lap, I think that made a lot more sense that they investigated it afterwards, and all they could really do was give it 20. But yeah, carry on.
Even if they added 5, he still would have finished behind that pack of cars who he was battling with anyway. So, obviously, I think that's harsh. Monza, yeah, that's just wrong. I mean, the exact same incident was when Hamilton overtook Massa when he went around the outside and then managed to keep it there and then become the inside for turn 2. Obviously, this didn't repeat itself, and Bottas went off. I thought it was a really hard penalty because they're racing. It's just a racing incident, the side by side. It's a really, really tight couple of corners, and you got to try and obviously it's hard to get 2 cars through there. But for me, yeah, like I said, Spa unfair, and Spa is deserved. Sorry, I'm again, and Monza unfair. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. Let's go to the chat real quick. Daniel Brennan says Bottas was ahead of K-Mag into the turn. That's why the stewards took such a grim view when Kevin squeezed Bottas off the track and forced Valtteri while he was ahead. Stupid, but with reason. I reckon Owen Quimby going. I reckon Magnussen in Monza, he probably would have got away with it if Massa and Hamilton hadn't already gone side by side round that corner without a problem. That's a valid point. Yeah. Saying here, both Spa and Monza were racing incidents. It is a racing championship, isn't it?
We want to see drivers try and defend their positions, don't we? I mean,
yeah.
It kind of seems like they're penalising racing on that one at least.
Exactly. Going back to some previous questions as well, Miles probably going Merc, Red Bull and Ferrari and maybe McLaren are the only teams who could realistically afford to run 3 cars. Again, valid point. Economically, this would be biased towards top teams again due to their spending budgets being many times greater than the lower teams. And if lower teams combine, there would be a significant cut in jobs as teams naturally specialise in their best elements, and it would be very difficult to communicate as effectively as before. That's from For Life and Beyond. Solid point. Initialisation goes, if Red Bull would need a whole Le Mans series field to cater for them lot.
I just remember you mentioned Canamasters before. Now, I don't really follow GP2 much. I watch the occasional race and
me too.
I read Will Buxton's tweets. And I saw a tweet from today. He wrote on his blog, and apparently he says he will no longer commentate a GP2 race if Canamasters does not get banned. Today, I retweeted it. Apparently, I don't watch it. Apparently, I decided to YouTube. I go on YouTube and look for a couple of videos, and apparently, he's a bit of a troublemaker. And apparently, there's going to be a strike, and they're not going to race unless he gets banned. Apparently, that's what I've heard. Don't quote me on that, but apparently, Will Buxton said he won't commentate another race.
Do strike because of one dude.
I think what he said, more or less, I'm not saying exactly, but he said, I don't want to be the one to commentate over another driver's death. if this guy was to be racing. So I could, if you give me a second, I will go find it now. And
I know exactly what you're talking about. I did used to follow Will Buxton on Twitter, so I know what you're talking about, and I know Will Buxton likes to turn up the ham for a lot of these occasions, because that's what Will Buxton does. He was the lead shit stirrer when Hamilton leaked to the press that he thought that Rosberg did it on purpose. He was the guy that set the fireworks going on that. It's like, would the whole field seriously take a strike just because of Canamassis when there's still a title to play for? I find that highly unlikely, first of all. Will Buxton is like saying he's not going to commentate a race because of him. It's like the world's most tame threat, really, isn't it? It's like, oh no, what will we do about Will Buxton's commentary? Like, I
don't know, maybe he thinks it's a big deal because he's been the only GP2 commentator there ever was.
Exactly. Maybe they give our boy Scott Woodless a job.
No, because I was looking at it, and like, for someone to say that, I thought it'd be serious. So then I went on YouTube and looked for a couple of videos to see if he's really that bad. And yeah, well, he's a bit reckless. Strike worthy? No.
Yeah, like the whole field going on strike over one dude is like, oh, he's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, I know. It's, I thought it's harsh on both ends.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I agree Canamassis is a bit aggressive, but I also say to the same degree that, you know, saying he's going to kill someone is just very extreme journalism that I think is just there to get clickbait rather than anything actually valid. I mean, shit, no one's going to die with him at the wheel. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I did see the incident at Monza. He literally took out 2 cars.
It wasn't ideal. It was terrible driving, don't get me wrong, but...
Yeah, but...
Yeah. Couple more comments before we move on to our final question of the night. The inconsistency is becoming a joke now. If we take K-Mag's incidents alone, I'd say the Alonso move and Bottas move were fairly close in terms of being racing incidents in the heat of battle. 1 week it's a 20-second time penalty, the next week it's a 5-second penalty. What? And that's from Andrew the Blade there. And again, very solid point. I mean, the fact the stewards are part-timers and the fact they keep rotating means we're never, ever going to get a truly consistent view on stewards' incidents, unfortunately, which is, you know, for better or worse, just the way it's going to be. I mean, if the stewards were the same and we had incidents like this, people would start getting accused of corruption. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation no matter which way you look at it. It's either do you want inconsistency or do you want, like, possible, you know...
Hey, no one ever accuses Charlie Whiting of corruption.
No one. They got the wrong short guy. Also, question from Ryan Maguire towards Fizz. When's the next AOR race going up?
Does he mean the videos or the
Yeah,
what?
I think he means the videos.
Well, I don't really know yet. Hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay, cool. So I know you're playing catch-up at the moment, so awesome.
Just a bit, yes.
Yeah, watch the German one, by the way. Apparently some black guy does the commentary in it or something like that. Apparently he was alright at it. Tom Barnes is saying, Ryan Littlemore, are you ready for a second deforestation day on Sunday?
No.
Forest fan that you are.
No, we'll win.
No comments.
All I'm going to say is who's top of the championship.
Oh God, here we go.
Where Derby. That's what I'm going to say.
Sorry, which championship is this?
The Skycat Championship.
Oh.
Say it here.
Don't worry, Fizzy. We'll be with you next season.
Last time I checked, Liverpool in top.
Yeah. Let's not talk football right now. The less I talk about this, the better. Well, I was saying, Will Buxton should work for Sky. Yeah, he'd fit right in.
Well, NBC has him. He's our guy.
Oh, dear.
Oh, gosh.
Kraken has just sent me a tweet, and I don't think it looks ideal. Let's have a quick look here. He says, and I quote, "Here's a fact you won't like. Vettel is only 18 points away from being mathematically eliminated from the Drivers' Championship." Fucker. I'm gonna kill you, Kraken.
Off you.
I'm getting troll the comments even on Around the Corner from people I actually like. They're saying here, I think Spa was a penalty, but Monza was. But, okay, weird. But yeah, okay. Final question. I think I found it earlier here. It's from the Rainmeister, which I thought was actually quite cool. I'll get to it in just a second as well. I'm also going to have a couple more comments from Thomas saying, "Hello, Dre. What's your opinions on Formula E?" And there's a female driver in Jarno Trulli's team, by the way. There's 2 female drivers in Formula E. You have Catherine Legger, who's, I think, for the Amlin Aguri team, and Michaela Cerruti in Jarno Trulli's team as well. I like Formula E. I like the concept. And I want to see how it all comes together. I'm excited to see how it goes down on Saturday. I hope it obviously works out. I'd like to see a genuine alternative to Formula One, and if it works out, then great for everybody. Really, more jobs, more TV ratings, more money in the sport could only be a good thing, unless Bernie Eccleston's in charge. Oh,
Saturday, does it?
Yeah, this Saturday.
Jesus, that was quick.
in the UK.
Yep, September 13th, live from Beijing, China.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's come around really quickly, to be honest. Like, I was at the launch party back in friggin' May, and it's now September already. It's like, it was ridiculous. I can't believe how quickly it's gone since then. Also met Sam Bird down there, lovely chap. The bird is the word.
One rejects.
Have we got an appeal round, Dre? Just out of curiosity, or is it just going to be another question?
So what was that? No. It was just. I was just mentioning it in the chat because it was asking me directly. To be fair, so. But yeah, saying casting. Oh my God! Savage Trout's response to that comment was casting couch or talent. You'll find out, I guess. Oh, stop! That's not very nice, Trout. Okay, final question of the night before the appeal round, because I know we're kind of pushing it for time just a little bit on Tom's end. If you could put Dre Nation together, Dre Nation Racing on the grid with 3 cars next year, which drivers, past or present, would you have in the team?
Didn't we do this question around a quarter ago?
A little while ago, but I guess with 3 cars, it adds a little bit of a different dynamic to it, I suppose, rather than just having 2.
Can we mention like team principal stuff like that just to make it a bit more interesting, or?
If you want, if you think it will get you some more points, go for it. No, I'm not going to stop you.
We can't take drivers from other teams, or do we have to take non-F1 drivers at the moment?
It's up to you, man. I mean, as Trout pointed out, there's a casting couch for good reason.
Something like that. That's fine.
Right, I've got mine.
But okay, a little more, you're being forced to play your joke here because this is the final question.
I was going to do it on the appeal round, but...
You're not allowed to use in the appeal round.
Penalty point for Littlemore. He doesn't understand the rules of the game.
Hey, I've not been on the round corner well.
Like 2 whole shows. Jesus. Also got a tweet from Owen saying, "Do I win because I met Sam Bird first?" Fuck you. Right, okay. Who wants to go first?
Me.
Alright, Littlemore, straight in there. Okay, you got your joker, make it count.
I'm going to start with the drivers first, and I'm going for past, present, and future of the championship. Past has to be Ayrton Senna without a shadow of a doubt.
Such a hipster pick.
Arguably, in my opinion, one of the best drivers ever to embrace on the track.
And the no shit Sherlock award goes to.
Present, I would say Lewis Hamilton.
I think Littlemore wants penalty points.
What? You're gonna pick Lewis Hamilton? Come on.
You heard me.
And for the future, in terms of in the next 5 years and who could be a champion, Valtteri Bottas. All very talented in every way, all in different eras.
And nice hair.
Nice hair.
We'll say that. Team principal, I'll have Ross Brawn on there. Probably one of the best team principals ever.
Yep.
Race engineer, I would have to go Rob Smedley.
Smedley. Okay.
He is one of the best, I would say. And Rob Smedley for probably Bottas. Hamilton, I will have to go for Rocky. That will never happen though, but that would be cool if Rocky was with Hamilton.
Hipster with the race engineers and everything. It's like Ryan wants every point in the universe by even mentioning 3 race engineers. You kiss up.
And the other one for Senna, it has to be a McLaren race engineer. Keep that passion still going with McLaren. I'll probably go for Jenson Button's engineer. I don't know who it is, but Whoever can know that, I'll appreciate that. So, yeah, on there. So that would be probably the most unstoppable team ever.
He's gone for the past, present, and the future. Do you really want to put Ayrton Senna and his disciple in the same team?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they would hate each other.
They would hate each other. Senna would run him off the road one day because both of them are too stubborn to give space to the other one, and then they'd hate each other's guts for a whole season.
That would never happen. That would never happen.
How confident would you be that that would never happen?
Like if they raced together in the same era, like Hamilton did not idolize Senna, he raced with Senna. It would be completely different.
That's a very good point as well.
Oh, it is a very good point, but I just think that you would rather have like two very quick drivers now. Well, not now, but Senna and Hamilton have won world championships. They have the experience.
I must admit, I'll give a little more a bonus point because I did see on BBC F1 that Eddie Jordan said if Jordan was back and he had to rebuild it from the ground now, Bottas would be one of the two drivers he'd go after.
Yeah, as I said,
bonus point. Anyone wants to try and guess who the other one was?
Okay.
I like how Fizzy. I think Fizzy's typing them.
Yeah, this is clickety clack.
Oh, cheating, Fizzy.
How come I or not?
Well, I just want to add as well, like what I was saying. Obviously, you have Senna and Hamilton who have won world championships, have the experience to win. Bottas is gonna be a world champion, in my opinion, at some stage of his career.
Okay.
So he could get the advice and the confidence from the two drivers to get.
Nobody got a guess?
Ricardo?
It wasn't Hulkenberg.
Ricardo?
Sorry, I completely missed it.
It was indeed.
Is it a current driver?
It was indeed. He said the two guys he would use to rebuild Jordan from the ground up today, if Jordan was back, would be Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas.
Oh.
In case you're wondering. That's something that might tickle your interest there. Okay. Let's go Fizz next.
Yeah, so drivers from the past and present and future.
It's up to you, man. Anything you like.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go that because I like that thing. I'm gonna go the same and say Ayrton Senna. I think he would be the driver in the team that would get the maximum out of the car in terms of pure pace over a lap, based on what I've seen of him, obviously. Then I'd go with Fernando Alonso.
Okay.
Because he's experienced in F1, and I think he's probably the most complete race drivers in terms of the race package. He always seems to pull out the maximum result in the race based on what his car can achieve. And then a driver for the future, definitely Ricciardo at the moment. I think he just seems to have talent in every department. Obviously, he's not fully developed yet, but he has solid qualifying speed. He has great. I mean, so far this season, I've been so impressed by his race performances in the sense that he's been able to pull off overtakes. Really, really impressive overtakes when he really has needed to get his results. Obviously, especially his first two wins. He really pulled off some extreme overtakes to get them done.
Absolutely.
So I think out of the current young drivers on the grid, he's the most promising for the future and exciting to follow. So I would like to say Magnussen, but he needs to show a bit more so far to really match Ricciardo in terms of
train his own Scandinavian roots. Oh dear.
If I was the team principal, I might be biased and pick Kevin, but as for team principal and race engineer, I'd go with Eddie John and Rob Smedley for the banter.
The banter. At least you'd be guaranteed a good interview, I suppose, right?
Get some good media coverage for the team.
Yeah, get Eddie Jordan up on the podium doing some podium celebrations. Hello, everybody!
Why the hell not?
Why not? I like the banter. I like that. Bonus point for that one. I thought that was quite funny. King?
Ooh, since being a Mercedes fan, I'm going to go for the German Dream Team.
Ooh,
I think I did the first time. First driver, legendary driver from the pre-war era, 3-time European Drivers' Champion, Rudolf Caracciola. You know,
Yeah.
the Caracciolo Carousel on the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, is named after him.
Mm-hmm.
He was legendary on the Nordschleife, and they called him the Ringmaster. Even the Rainmaster he was able to win a race from behind in the wet on the Nordschleife
Wow.
in a Grand Prix car. And second driver, of course, we go with Michael Schumacher, the modern day Rainmeister. 7 world titles. It's hard to argue. Why not have Michael Schumacher?
Mm-hmm.
Your team would be brilliant if it rains.
Yeah, if it rains, they're amazing.
You win every single wet race ever.
Third driver, Sebastian Vettel, 4-time world champion. At 27, he still has a long career ahead of him.
That is quite a team, man.
And for team principal, I'm bringing in the legend himself, Alfred Neubauer. He led the Mercedes Grand Prix team during the 30s with Caracciolo as the lead driver, and during the 50s with Fangio as his lead driver.
Oh, wow, okay. That I did not know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know Mercedes has a rich Grand Prix racing history,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the trophy case to prove it.
Nerd! That everything, King?
Yeah, that's everything.
Damn. That would be a hell of a team. I do know about the law of Crashiola, I'll say that much, but yeah, you're a friggin' nerd, King. And I think to round us off, Tom.
And, well, me being a lifelong Ferrari fan, and as much as it hurts to see where they are right now, I'm going to go for all-star Ferrari team.
Okay.
And top of the list,
Yeah,
like Ryan mentioned, I'm biased, Michael
Any
Schumacher.
No?
Michael Schumacher, you know, my hero, man that brought Ferrari, you know, 5 world titles. Then I'm going to have the man who he tipped in 2000 to be the next big thing, who's currently at Ferrari, Fernando Alonso. So I'm going to say exactly the same as past, present, and future. And then the third driver, I'm going to go Nico Hülkenberg. The reason I say this is because that guy has not got a race seat yet, a proper fast car, and I want that man to have a proper race car before he peaks and win a couple of world titles, because I know he's got it in him. Race engineer,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I was going to say Eddie Jordan, and then I went against it, and I want to go for the man, Jean Todt.
Oh, Lord.
And then race engineers, I'm not saying him any, like, what driver. I'm just going to go Andrea Stella, because I think everyone knows for his classic Italian messages and no one understands, so it'd be pretty good strategy. I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton's engineer just because of hammer time, and I'm going to probably go with Rocky because, you know, stop the car.
Stop the car. I have to take the engine. Stop the car.
I'd love to have a 3-time Indy 500 winning race engineer, Adrian Newey.
Oh, God.
King digging deep for that bonus point. Okay. Interesting picks there. I'm surprised somebody would dig deep for Nico Hülkenberg like that. But don't get me wrong, I think Hülkenberg's a fantastic freaking driver, so I don't blame that selection at all. I think he's fantastic.
I think he really did come up as a big, everyone tipped him to be a future world champion last year at Sauber, because I think the car was pretty slightly better than the Force India, especially now. It seems like Force India doing the usual downhill as the season goes on, but I still think guys good enough. He's really good.
Saying here, let's check the comments real quick, because I know this would get people talking. Ed is here. He says, "Evening, fucktards." That's vintage Ed for you. So yeah, the bonus point to Joshua saying Tom Stollard is Button's race engineer for what it was worth.
Yeah, I was good.
In the comments saying, on Daniel Brennan says, it's on ITV4 in the UK. Lucky bastards, it's on the Irish version of Sky Sports here in Ireland. Oh, yeah, that's unlucky. Yeah, said, what if Sky Sports F1 takes Formula E rights off them? Oh, God, I'd hate to see that happen.
Well, they have nothing else to show on Sky Sports F1.
I don't want any more Crofty mistakes. I think he's just be getting too many drivers wrong.
Yeah, he's been...
Well, you watched BBC, didn't you, Drew?
I did for that Grand Prix, but in general, Crofty's made a lot more errors this year.
You didn't. I think it's good that you didn't watch Sky because what Crofty did.
Was he that bad?
It was that at the start he mixed up Hamilton for Rosberg up until turn 2.
Oh,
it was
Yeah.
it was so embarrassing. It really was. I was like, are you really saying this?
Their helmets are blatantly different. One is black, one is white. How could you get that mixed up?
And then they've got the little T-cam thing at the top, painted different colours for a reason.
Exactly. Oh my god, that's painful. You can't get a lap 1 incident like that wrong.
I bet if you go on YouTube, you probably find it.
Oh jeez.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Let's see the selections here. Saying Raikkonen supporters saying Senna, and Senna for my team. Chaos, beautiful, amazing chaos. I find it funny that a guy with a name of Raikkonen supporter didn't pick Kimi Raikkonen. Smooth Racing saying Senna will not work well in the team with Hamilton. It's saying for me he would go Prost, Rosberg, and Ricciardo. Not a bad idea that. Daniel Brennan said, I'd choose Senna, Schumacher, and Vettel. 3 ruthless multi-time champions who'd end up hitting each other so much they'd let Ricciardo win the title anyway. I thought was quite good. For Life and Beyond going, Max Verstappen, Ayrton Senna, and Narain Carter Kane, and Narain will win the championship. Bring it. Right. Saying here as well, Bottas and Ricciardo. I said, did Eddie Jordan just leak the 2016 Mercedes driver lineup? Well, who knows?
For the sake of that, might as well have Chilton, Ericsson, and Khan as the dream team.
The dream team. Yeah, I was just saying, Tom Bardsley saying, my 3 drivers, Schumacher, Senna, and a surprise inclusion of Sebastian Loeb. He did several tests in an F1 car and showed some good pace, and it was a shame he didn't get a super license. Owen also chipping in saying, and EJ told Bottas, he said, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. Which I thought was hilarious. Eterno saying, Fizzy says banter in such a sexual way. Hashtag no homo. See, Fizz, you've got fans out there, Fizz.
Woo!
They like your act.
For that. Yes.
Hashtag Fizzy Squeal, trademark. Mars Party saying, King knows too much. I tell him this all the time.
Use the American version of Scott Woodward.
Yeah, he just doesn't talk as much. Mars saying, mine would be Senna. In my opinion, the greatest of all time. Lewis, I think, is the current best, and the future is Danny Rick for obvious reasons, with Toto and Paddy in charge. I think they've done very well in Mercedes, even after the Spa debacle.
I just think I need to want to hear that. I still think a lot of Mercedes' success is down to Ross Brawn. I really do.
But if Ross Brawn was there now, they would not be racing at all. It'd be team orders.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Definitely. No doubt about it.
I understand that.
Don't get me wrong, as much as I'm not a fan of team orders, I totally understand why they exist sometimes. And yeah, it's an interesting one. We've not really spoken very much about the Hamilton-Rosberg field on tonight's show because I think I'm about as sick of it as anybody else is, to be honest with you. But
just end it already.
End it already. Like, seriously.
So far, at the moment, it may resume.
Like, seriously, I've been on Facebook post-Grand Prix, and I've seen people saying, like, oh, Rosberg spoke to Massa in Italian. He must have been taking a dig at Hamilton. How dare he?
Actually, somebody translated it. They were just having a laugh. There was like, oh my god, how fucking lucky was Lewis today? And that's a straight quote. That's what Nico Rosberg said.
Okay, I like Nico Rosberg far more after that one. I must admit, I like as well. It's like, I think, didn't he make a joke on the podium as well and said, just kidding afterwards? I
don't remember.
I can't remember. Apparently, because I think for the first time I think I've ever seen on the podium, they gave all freedom an open mic. Just say whatever the hell you wanted in a microphone rather than have John Lacey ask them questions, which I thought was quite funny. So, like, if it was me, I'd be getting on there and spitting some rhymes. But yeah, that was an interesting one. But yeah, apparently they were having a laugh, which I thought, people are just looking way too much into this. JYY with the MotoGP joke of Marc Marquez, Valentino Rossi, and Scott Redding. I like that. Points to you, JYY. Nice reference. Joe McMillan says, mine, Fangio, Schumacher, Hamilton, team principal, Ross Brawn. Nice picks. The McLaren 1988 team, virtually. Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo, arguably the three best performing drivers this year. Valid. Shedboy saying, Chumi, Senna, Prost. And I'd go for a non-F1 drop racers team just because. From Andrew the Blade, he'd go Tom Christensen, Sebastian Loeb, and Valentino Rossi. I love that. Great idea. I love the originality of that, Andrew. And finally, he goes the ultimate dream team: Alex Young, Ricardo Rosset, and UJ Ide. Oh dear. And
to be fair though, MotoGP, I think Honda were pretty close to the dream team when they had 3 bikes with Stoner, Pedrosa, and Dovizioso. That was pretty close to the.
Yeah, that was an amazing friggin' team.
For me, maybe Pedrosa, Dovizioso for Marquez, and that would have been pretty much the dream team. But
yeah, God, that would have been something else. But yeah, well, I think we'll call it a wrap for now. I think we'll skip the appeal round on this one because we're a little bit close to time on this one.
How's Little Moore supposed to rack up the penalty points?
Oh, I had a really good topic as well.
Dre, just do it.
I planned this really good topic.
Tom, are you okay?
Let's do it.
Oh, he's pulling the pin.
All right. Appeal round it is. If you was demand, the appeal round will continue.
As long as Ryan gets more penalty points, I'm fine.
That's the main reason I'm doing it.
Oh shit!
I have to bring in my judge and adjudicator. 1 minute. You know.
No!
Oh god.
You say he's going to bring in Judge.
He's playing Mass Effect. Oh, typical.
Yes!
Fine. You're
Great.
stuck with me tonight, fellas. My brother Ryan is too busy playing Mass Effect, so you're stuck with me.
That's all. I can tear into Master this time, and I won't get punished for it.
Hang on, I take that back. He is in the house. Say hello to the Antichrist himself.
I'm wearing my suit.
Sit down. Say hello to my little friend.
Hello, Ryan.
Little friend.
Ryan, friend.
Yeah.
Your camera here is bad looking.
Oh, shut up. Yes, yeah, apparently you're single and he likes it if you're Somalian.
Shut up. Shut up. The chunk.
Brother love.
As I was saying, you know what, Ryan? Who's going first? He's saying Fizz is up first.
Oh, but I haven't turned my brain on really the last 5 minutes. I don't really know.
Oh, what else is new?
We've got a massive fan here.
Oh?
So let's talk about how impressive Bottas is.
Crack snappy.
You got a massive fan. Let's talk about how impressive Bottas is. Are you sure that's the right strategy?
No, but it's. I mean, I don't have anything else to talk about that I can pop off the top of my head.
Go on, then. Fella.
Why not talk about how impressive Ricardo and Bottas have been? Because I know obviously they're not exactly rookies anymore, but they're both relatively new, and the way I've just been really impressed. I mentioned a bit about Ricardo earlier, but the way they've both been outperforming their much more established teammates over the course of the season. Obviously, I mentioned about Ricardo, the manner he got his wins in after the overtakes he did to pull those wins off.
Absolutely.
And the fact, if I remember correctly, he's outraced, gotten a better result than Vettel on 11 out of 13 races. I'm sorry to break this to you, Andrew. And I don't have the same statistic for Bottas over Massa, but and Bottas took a little while to get it going, because I think Williams have had consistently the second best car of the course of the season. Okay. But obviously Bottas didn't get on the podium before Austria, but especially from that race onwards, he's just been superb. And like I've seen several people mention as well, he's pulled off some of the overtakes of the season during the course of the races. Some of them just goes unnoticed because they are in the middle of the race where it doesn't really matter too much. But he keeps whenever I see Bottas behind someone, I expect him to overtake them now.
Okay.
And he's Yeah, obviously 4 podiums now in the last, 6 races.
Ryan's wavering.
Oh, Little Wars chipped in. What is this?
Stat to what Fizzy was talking about with Ricciardo and Vettel. For Bottas and Massa, in qualifying, Bottas is 9.4.
Right.
And in terms of race results, they both have got the same equal amount of best results.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
And
Massa has been outperforming quite a lot in the early season, then
and in terms of points, which we do know, Bottas has got more than double the amount of what Massa's got.
Yags.
Yeah, that's a big one, to be honest.
Massa's got 55 points, Bottas has got 122.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Ricciardo also has 60 points over Vettel, so...
Yeah.
And Massa's first podium of the season was yesterday, wasn't it? So it's not really much of a discussion I'm making. I just felt like pointing out how impressed I am with these guys, because they really are stars of the future. Obviously, Magnussen and Kvyat, I'd hope is also stars of the future, but they're obviously on their first year and haven't outperformed their teammates just yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Judge Ryan, what do you make of this? In your own time.
Give me you go first and then let me...
I liked it.
He doesn't want to give a 0. He doesn't want to give a 0.
There, actually.
Well, I can understand him wanting to give a 0, but I mean...
Don't worry, I'm here, that won't happen.
Let's not get the fanboys and overtake the logic here, like I did at Spa with Magnussen's penalty.
Silence! Judge Ryan is in the house.
Oh, yes! Oh, I don't
Then let go to your head either.
I wanted to.
Get on with it.
It was a very good balanced statement.
Mm-hmm.
I think a little more deserve points for the actual bringing up.
Yes.
He does.
Kiss my ass a little more, gets a couple of points for that. Well done.
That's Rise must say United. But I think it's a very good point, just generally in general.
Give me a number.
8.
8? I was thinking 6.
I like your brother.
I bet you do. Someone has to.
You might want to praise Massa a little bit.
Everyone loves me.
Don't get too big for your boots now just because you're on my hangout, yeah?
You're in my room on my laptop.
I don't care.
Pew pew.
Me today.
I'm gonna split the difference and say 7.
Fair enough. I'm disappointed that Ryan got points rather than penalty points. I'm just...
Little more, you're up.
I should have just not.
Gone wrong with the stream for that to happen.
You're welcome. Little more, you're up next. Go.
My discussion is about something that's happened in the past 2 races, and that is the booing in Formula 1, which has come back after, in the same scenario, Spa last year with Sebastian Vettel getting booed for the same thing. This year, obviously, we know why it's been the booing's back is obviously with Rosberg and Hamilton's incident at Spa on the second lap, and for the sport, in a way, it's a good thing because it's like a pantomime, a bad and a good guy. Everyone's like, but there's like, in a way, Rosberg came out after Spa by saying that all the booing he's blaming the British fans, which I thought was a bit over the top, really, from Rosberg's point of view. There's other F1 fans, not from Britain, who say that Rosberg was in the wrong on that point, and then you get the whole Hamilton came out of the meeting and said Rosberg deliberately went into the back of him. So obviously that's put the fuel in the frying pan.
But did the people there at the Grand Prix knew that Hamilton's told the press that?
Oh no, because it came out, didn't it? It came out.
I mean, the perception of it's wrong. I think I remember watching. I think it was Sky F1 I was watching after the Spa, and they were interviewing after the podium celebration when all the fans on the grid. They just I think it was Herbert put his mic through the fence and interviewed this woman. And is the booing justified? And well, I'm not sure. I mean, I just go with it anyway because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Interesting dynamic.
That's just wrong. You know, I don't know.
Let them finish this point. Let them
I
finish.
also continue on by saying it is wrong in the sport for someone to get booed. You get it in like other types of sport now. You get it in cricket, you get it in football all the time. on there, and I think with Rosberg in Monza, people are conspiracy because obviously he made the lockup and cost him the win. Many people are like saying conspiracies are saying that booing has got into his mind, that psychological effect that may have cost him the win. But Toto Wolff come out recently by stating that obviously he has to back Rosberg because he's in his team. That's saying, oh, booing's wrong and all that. It's bad for the sport, and he's, in a way, in my honest opinion, it's wrong. But in a way, it's good for like the fans because you get the whole good-bad situation. It's created like a big scene, like a big movie scene, in a way for a good showcase. So it's wrong, but you get it.
Judge Ryan, what do you make of this?
I like the idea of a good guy be bad guy for the reason of that's what Bernie is trying to do anyway. The whole double point system, this whole idea of making it more like a movie, having like only one dominant team to have a 1-2 battle. So I don't see it as a bad thing that one guy is getting booed over the other. So it's like it kind of adds to the movie feel.
That's the reason why.
But the thing is that if he's getting booed and stuff, and like he's got a bad reputation, some of his fans, not saying that it will happen, but they might lose interest in him, and like in a way. But that's how I feel.
Here's the problem with your appeal, little more. It's a very valid point you were making, but you can't say booing is you can't justify the booing, but then say it's good for the sport. You can't really have it both ways. You know what I mean?
I'm just reading it on Autosport. They have a discussion about is it good for the sport, and some people are saying yes, but some people are saying no.
Because I'm not sure the football mentality of booing is like really going to help the sport. Like it's like, oh look, these guys are booing. I'm going to be watching next race. Like is that really going to get more people interested?
Well, that's why you get the whole good versus bad guy situation that Ryan's agreeing.
Yeah. And the problem with your appeal as well was that if as Tom quite rightly pointed out, and he gets a couple of points for this on top, they interviewed somebody at Spa and they said that they were just going along with it. And do they really care if they're just going to go along with the crowd?
For me, it has to be a justified reason. So, for example, say if Kanematos was in F1 and he's been doing what he's been doing in GP2, then fair enough. He's been causing havoc, and maybe a lot of people might not like it. That's fair enough. But like Vettel being dominant and Rosberg having one incident and getting his feet wet for once, whereas Hamilton's done it various times by doing various accusations and stuff, that for me is not right. So
yeah, that's my side. That's why it's bad. But
I'll touch up on this in my appeal.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you have this situation, especially in motorsport, which is very dangerous, where you unjustly give a driver a bad reputation, fans are going to jump to conclusion when an incident happens. Like, look at Tony Stewart. He had a bad reputation, and he had that dirt track incident in upstate New York, and people automatically assumed he did it on purpose.
Of course. And I know a lot of people that basically made out like Tony Stewart had just committed a murder, which I thought was completely out of line.
Yeah.
Suggestion, quite frankly, and yeah, I see what you're coming from. That's all. I mean, we live in a world of instant gratification. We want news as quickly as possible. We want to get the full story as quickly as possible. But when we sit back and think about things a little bit more, sometimes our opinions change. And maybe that's what we need to do more often than sit back and, just suck it all in rather than just going, oh, look, Rosberg clipped his front wing, boo!
Yeah, it's like that on Twitter. There's there's a divide.
It is a split.
There
is definitely a split.
I'm talking now. I was going to talk about this in my appeal round. I'll talk about two things, really.
Keep it. Just keep it until...
Keep it. You're up next, Tommy. Don't worry.
I'm
Don't drive. Your score.
Don't put me down.
Just shut up and tell me.
5.
5?
What?
To be fair,
You got to have a walking contradiction of an argument.
This is
get big points.
This is true. Your argument, you kind of shot yourself in the foot in an argument a little bit there, a little more when I was saying, mentioning.
It's my opinion. That's what I think. And if it's bad, then
I don't think it's going to be quite as harsh as the
Ryan's got his own opinion, and I respect it. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
I thought Ryan's will be united. Jokes.
Oh dear. The awkward silence there just kind of summed it all up, really. I'm going to agree with Ryan on this one. I'm going to go 5.
Fair dues.
Tom?
Yeah, now, obviously, this is kind of brewed up in the last couple of minutes. I was going to originally talk about Ferrari and the situation. If I'm allowed, I'll talk about it after. But I get a lot of problems during races with a lot of Hamilton fans, and Dre, you know this, namely if you're watching Mr. Neo Blitz. I get in a couple of issues. People question and ask why they're not Hamilton down so much, and that's not the case. I don't knock him. I'm unbiased. I'm objective. Really, honestly, I've had a proper favourite driver in the sport since 2007.
Right.
So I've been watching for quite some time now. Because I mean, even though Schumacher came back, it wasn't really the main man. So you know, I think it's really harsh to criticize Rosberg has been getting just for getting his feet wet once when Hamilton has done various other things in the past. I mean, for example, the whole drama with Massa in 2011, where they both had their own faults, and then also this year, doing ridiculous accusations like questioning his nationality, saying they're not friends. It's I don't know. I thought it was really unfair, especially the booing towards Rosberg just for doing a little incident that even I don't know if that was properly intentional. Just because Hamilton says it doesn't mean it's true. We still haven't heard the word yet. I don't believe if that was actually on purpose or not. So that's just basing yourself off a statement that your favourite driver said. That's being a fanboy. You should try and be objective about it. So now, if I have permission, I want to talk about what I was going to talk about. Ferrari, where they're at, and what can happen. They've tied down their drivers. Obviously, we know Kimi's got a 2-year contract. He's staying there till the next year. Sorry, and Alonso is staying, and he wants to stay there forever. So apparently, there's a big argument and problem between the aero and the engine department this year. Hence, the bad performance from the car and not any improvement. And apparently, Ferrari promised Alonso and Raikkonen they give new contracts promising that this issue will be sorted out, and that next year they're going to go for a massive revamp in staff and sort everybody out and try and get all the foundations back in place to get them back right where they are. Me being a Ferrari fan, I'd love to see Ferrari back up the pecking order right up the front end, but realistically I think it's going to take 1 or 2 years, maybe have to bring in a new driver and do what McLaren are doing. Maybe bring in Bianchi once Kimi goes. I'm hoping Ferrari in the next 2 or 3 years can get back up there. Proper top 2 team. Hopefully.
Okay. Judge Ryan.
It was a very good point, bringing up a lot of quotes from things that I didn't know anything about, like the idea of like the aero parts not matching with the engine.
Yeah.
The idea of changing the lineup has not been like, it's been throughout the entire season. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Raikkonen and Alonso. It comes up every year.
Yeah, and probably bringing in Jules Bianchi probably is going to be the future.
Yeah.
But
you can pretty much
considering possible 3-car teams, that might be a good. Might have a chance.
I think Bianchi is a matter of when, not if.
Yes.
They're going to pencil him in.
Something that people need to consider as well. Ferrari might own another B team, considering about Haas, the whole
Haas, Testarossa is in the wings as well. If they come around, that's probably going to be Ferrari's junior team, if anything.
The way Ferrari have structured their team now is getting to the point now they're going to pretty much own a B team like Red Bull, and they still have the power to get drivers to get put into different teams. And look, Bianchi's a key example of this.
And a Mercedes part of that too?
Mercedes part of it. Well, it was more of the case of, it was just more of the same, that it was more good points, but
Yeah.
I've already heard it before.
I just wanted to add on before, I forgot to say it. I remember I watched an interview with Schumacher. It was just before his accident, and he said it's going to take time with Ferrari. The people there now are the people that he didn't work with in the glory days a decade ago. So obviously it's a new time and generation for Ferrari in terms of people, staff, people that he had in his prime have moved on and have gone over to other things, like John Todd's now the president of the FIA, and so it's a new kind of era for Ferrari in many respects.
Yeah, I think what's gone on now is that the fans have changed to the point where
they've accepted the midfield runners' superior midfield.
Exactly. There's another point now that fans are pretty much have so much influence. It's like if you make one bad mistake, you'd be vilified throughout the entire paddock. And
by Rosberg.
fans. It's like,
and the fans.
Let's be honest here. Drivers like Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher did a lot of dirty shit in the past, but no one really brings it up because they're legendary.
Yeah, this is true.
But when Nico Rosberg does a valid mistake, which he apologizes about as well. Now all Hamilton fans are now calling him Nancy, or
yeah, exactly.
You're cheating, Nancy. Also in the incident in Monaco as well.
Yeah, some vile stuff.
Obviously, my vision of it is I still don't think Rosberg did it intentional. I don't think he did. I don't think Rosberg's the kind of guy that's got the balls to do something like that. I think only Senna and Schumacher had to do that. I'm not being biased. That it's proven.
Oh yes.
So,
yeah.
But there's also the other arguments like. Rosberg didn't know what would happen if they would touch. He didn't know that he would puncture his tire. It was all down to a matter of luck.
And if you're championship leader, why would you take that kind of gamble? You must be really insecure about your own ability if you feel like you have to do that in order to get one over on your opponent.
It's Dick Dastardly.
Yeah, he's Dick Dastardly, basically. Toto Wolff plays a great Muttley with his broken arm. How many points?
8.
I'm going to override you and say 10.
Nice.
I really like that, actually. Right, King.
Ooh, I'm going to talk about Formula 1, and I'm also going to talk about baseball, but it's related.
Oh, okay. I'm curious.
It's the young drivers programs that all these major teams have, but I mean, they're young driver programs. They say they're academies, but they're not really academies. They're more like sponsorship programs where they just give them money to run in lower teams, and we have the bigger teams just bypass us like Red Bull with Max Verstappen because they want to get Max F1 experience, and it seems to me where it's like the feeder series, it's like skill doesn't really mean that much. It's either you're paying to be there or some Formula 1 team's paying you to be there, and once you run out of money, you're just out of the series, and that doesn't seem completely fair.
No.
And this is where I'm going to bring in baseball, where baseball has a great system for developing their players, where they have Major League Baseball and they have Minor League Baseball. Think of it like in England they have the Premier League and they have all the other lower leagues.
Yeah.
Except there's no promotion or relegation. All the teams stay where they are. But here's where it's different. Because there's like no TV money for both Minor League Baseball and the feeder series, so you can't become rich in GP2.
No, of course not.
In baseball, the minor league teams, the major league teams supply all the minor league teams with players. They pay all the players, they supply them with equipment, they even hire the coaches for the minor league teams. They just have this. The teams just have to sign an agreement saying that the players, that everything belongs to the major league team, but they just have to run the business of the tickets, the concessions, and stuff like that. It's like, why can't we have a system like that in Formula 1 where basically they would have, where like Ferrari would almost own a GP2 team. They would supply a GP2 team with the drivers, the cars for the year, the engineers, and it would give so many more drivers opportunity because Ferrari doesn't really have seats to give. They would just pay. They just pay for Jules Bianchi to be at Marussia. Like, imagine if Ferrari had 4 feeder seats to give instead of just 1 Formula 1 seat.
Yeah, that'd be so much more interesting.
In a way, if you think about it, if you relate that, I didn't think that's a really good idea. For example, we're talking about the 3-car teams. Really, if you could move Toro Rosso down to GP2 and make it a GP2 team, if you know what I mean, because really, Toro Rosso is practically a GP2 style team in F1.
Yeah. And there's no reason. These teams have the money, and you see all these guys in the feeder series either running out of money or being cut by their Formula 1 teams. And it just doesn't seem right that their career's over just because they didn't make it to Formula 1. Just because, not on lack of skill, because of lack of funding.
Yeah, it's not a fair system, and most people who know GP2 and the amount of drivers it's negatively affected over the years because of lack of funding and lack of opportunity, as well as another factor as well to consider, has hurt so many people. I mean, Luis Razia was meant to be at Marussia a couple of years ago, but then his sponsor pulled out at the 11th hour, and as a result, he was chopped, and Jules Bianchi was brought in like in a matter of hours. Bianchi had his race seat fitted, and he was driving for Marussia all over again, and David Valsecchi we saw the other day at Lotus, him missing out when Raikkonen got hurt. Instead, they gave Heikki Kovalainen a call, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a third driver in the first place. Except,
I mean, like Athlete VG, my podcast partner, he got some insider information from Connor Daly's mom that Connor Daly's GP2 seat costs $1.6 million for the season.
Jesus Christ! 1.6 million.
This is what I was going to bring up. You can run a B team in GP2, but it's going to cost a lot more money in comparison to like baseball, where you run an entire minor league team. So I don't know the details completely, but
no, I would say it's about the same amount because you're paying for everyone who works there, plus their equipment, plus some travel.
About the same.
And the thing is that the big teams, Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, they could afford to do this.
Well,
I still think F1's more. I agree with Ryan. I think, Dre's brother, I think F1 is more like transferring everything from Grand Prix to Grand Prix, developing cars over the season.
Yeah, and like just so you get a sense of scale of the minor league baseball system, each major league club owns about 6 minor league baseball teams in 6 different cities.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Oh, true. Yeah,
But yeah.
there's a difference though, because my major league teams are like massive franchises. F1 isn't the most known sports figure in the world.
But it's a very expensive sport to stay a part of.
And the thing
And
is,
Red Bull drop a lot of marketing money into it as
yeah,
well.
but you could say that you can run a third team in GP2, and I understand big teams could probably do that. Teams like Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes could do that.
I'd love to have that kind of system.
But teams like Force India, Sauber, and Williams, when we was afford a team like that. Because
Yeah, they don't have to have a farm system then. Like, you do what you want to do.
I mean, for Williams have Felipe Nazar in their pocket right now, who's second in the GP2 World Championship.
But then, once again, you're just helping the top teams grow even stronger and making the middle teams even weaker.
Ryan, F1's never going to be a standardised sport, so that's more on them than anything else, and that's down to revenue sharing. We could go into a whole half-an-hour discussion about that shit. Give me a score.
9.
9. I really like that, actually. It was a very good contrast. I'm going to go 11 on that one, I think. Yeah, 11 points, I'll say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Ooh, my pen nearly broke. Okay, let's have a quick look at the chat, and then we'll tot up the final scores. Oh, God, stop getting so picky. You can go back to Mass Effect now, by the way. Your role here is... actually, stick around so you can see what the actual scoreboard says at the end, and then you can get that out of here.
Don't keep me out of my own room.
Oh, shut up. So nobody really brings it up now, but back in the immediate days of Senna's controversy and Schumacher's, they were utterly derided. I'm a bit young to remember Senna's criticism, but the abuse Schumacher got in the media after Adelaide 94, Jerez 97, can't remember which season it was, but a few races in a row he did this really aggressive chop across second place from pole. It was all really strong. If Rosberg wins the championship and goes on to be a greater driver than he is now, the hate will subside and history will look at him more favourably. That's a very solid point there.
Yeah. If you're willing to do things like that, you got to back it up.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you just look like Pastor Maldonado on a bad day. Yeah, just wrap up the scores real quick. Talk amongst yourselves.
Pastor Maldonado is shit.
Discuss. Yeah.
I just thought I'd point that out. Don't really.
I think the poor guy's just got a massive black cloud over his head, innit? I think guy's got a bit.
Marcus Ericsson should never be on the grid.
Nor should Gutierrez. I mean, also I could name you like so many drivers, but you know.
I could name like a load of drivers who I would not have on the grid. Ericsson, for one.
Little more. I mean, tweet about this. Racing driver swaps.
Oh yeah, I am very
I've obviously, I've obviously been testing them, so I know what it is.
I'm so looking forward to that. It's gonna be
And
so cool.
I will say it's probably the best way of implementing this in that I've ever seen. I've seen it on R Factor 2 as well. iRacing's way of doing it. It's bloody fantastic. And whoever's got iRacing, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, I agree. And you can get it for 3 months. It's still free, isn't it? The Nürburgring thing.
Yep.
I really can't wait for 24-hour endurance races. Oh,
Yeah.
race face at the minute is not really
When does the check from iRacing to you guys come?
Paid promotion.
I'll have a look.
Okay, gentlemen, I have a score. I have a scoreboard here.
Drum
That's
roll.
place Ryan.
There is a clear winner.
Minus
I'll
1
say
point.
I'll say that much. Second and third's pretty close, but I can reveal, so exclusively, there is a new winner.
Just before you go on.
All four of you have not really won a race.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, let's put.
in the chat.
I'm last, so.
I'm just gonna say before you go on, Fizzy, the link's in the chat. If you want to have a look at it, I think that's still valid.
It's valid till the end of
October, isn't it?
month, I think.
October, I think it is. Either way, 3 months.
What's
Free.
going on in the middle of the results show? What is wrong with you people? I can still change the score, you know.
Okay, zip.
As I was saying, unfortunately, in fourth place, I'm sad to report, with a score of 52. Who am I kidding? It's Ryan Littlemore. Ryan, come on, man.
How many penalty points, out of curiosity?
2.
There you go. That's a result for me. That's a win for me.
That's so weird.
You have the point most penalty points this episode, funnily enough.
I don't care. Two will do. It's a work in progress. It's like Williams. I'm gonna do a Williams.
Yeah, but that means you're gonna be back down next time.
Yep. In third place, no penalty points. He had a score of 58. He's been dying to get a win. It hasn't happened yet. Unfortunately, it's Ryan King in third place.
Just gonna win.
It's just not happening for you, King, is it? Oh dear. It will happen, King. Keep plugging away at it. You need more Magnussen jokes.
Oh wait, Ryan's getting the applause out.
So, who wins? Is it Norway or Spain?
I was pretty. I will say I've redeemed Europe from.
Oh, good. You put one back over on the American. Thank God.
Now Arab's got to do his job next time.
Okay.
I hope Fizzy wins now.
In second
I love
place.
America. Let's do this.
In second place with a score of 60. Had 2 penalty points, unfortunately. It's Tom Martinez, everybody.
Oh god.
Oh.
Which means a new winner with a score of 66. His Joker won it for him. It was an outstanding play of the Joker on Magnussen. It's FisiFan91, ladies and gentlemen. And he celebrates by doing his ankle in and flashing his crotch in front of the camera. Magnificent. Fizzy, how does it feel to be an around the corner champion?
It feels amazing. I would like to thank Kevin Magnussen for crashing into 2 people for giving me something to speak about. And then I would like to thank my my candy, which has kept me awake all this time.
Yeah.
And then thanks for being there, and thanks for giving me all those points. I mean, I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, me neither. I ended up and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. How did I get there? But yeah, I think it was.
I think it was the banter point that gave it to me, to be honest.
Yeah. Tom, second place, mate. Unlucky. How did it feel?
Yeah, I think that's the second time I come second now. Third. I don't know. I'm starting to become a bit of a Ryan King now as well, so I need to get that win in eventually. So nonetheless, congrats to Fizzy.
Yeah.
And did them 2 penalty points have anything to do, or was it a much bigger margin?
You had 60, Fizzy had 66, so it made no difference to the overall bearing. So Yeah, Fizzy was just a better man on the day, unfortunately, for you. But
Tom, it's all right. You beat me, so it's all right.
Yeah.
it's such a grand achievement.
You didn't.
Exactly.
My job's done. I pull one back for the Europeans, so.
If you haven't already, subscribe to everyone in the chat, as always. Everyone who's joined me tonight, I'll put all their links in the description on the replay as this goes up, especially Fizz, because he works so friggin' hard on the AOL highlights. It's ridiculous. The man deserves 50,000 subs, let alone 8. So if you haven't already, do it. Like, seriously, you don't even see me on there now and again, so who knows. In the meantime, and also, in case you didn't get the word already, if you haven't subscribed to Pole Position, P1 channel, do it tomorrow. Apparently, I'm going to be chatting with Felipe Massa. Kind of a big deal. So if you haven't subscribed to them already, check that out. I'll be on their channel as well very, very soon. So check that out tomorrow. I believe it's 5:30. I think the time is for that one. So check that out if you get a chance already. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I know it's gone a little bit later than usual. Still have like 15 of you watching at 11:15 at night. So thanks everyone who missed the England game. I don't think you missed too much, thankfully. But hey,
I'm in America. It's so bright.
Yeah, thank you everyone for sticking around for so long, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did, and hopefully we won't be 6 weeks before we're back on the air again. But until then, from me, from Fizz, from the two Ryans, and from Tom, I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Sayonara.
Controversy!